Just before we get into this week's episode, just a disclaimer that Michael Hofsall and I recorded this episode before the Mars game was postponed, meaning that despite as much editing as I can, there will be probably hints and references to the Mars game, so bear that in mind. I also want to mention that Richard McHugh is doing a sponsored walk from Sandy Lane to Ashby Avenue for the Worksop Town fixture against Lincoln United on Saturday the 13th of November to help raise funds for Sam Fisher, also known as Sponge, who sadly passed away last week. I just want to mention that the GoFundMe page will be in the description of the Spotify episode and the YouTube one. So help out if you can and enjoy the episode.
Go on, Worksop! Go on, Worksop!
Hello and welcome back to another episode of Tiger Talk, the official podcast of Worksop Town Football Club. Today I'm joined by videographer and the creator of the Tigers View, Michael Hofsall. Mike, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm not too bad. Taking into consideration the little cameo you did in episode 2 and also being a co-host last time out, you're on your hat-trick appearance. So, unlike Soccer AM, I don't have a ball ready for you, but how does it feel?
It's good. I'm getting into the podcast business, so yeah, it's been good. I love talking, so it's really good for me.
Well, before we get into the proper talking and the meat and taters of the podcast, here's what's on today's show. We'll be reviewing the victory over Stocksbridge Park Steels before moving on to the Senior Cup midweek. Then we will talk about Saturday that's just passed, the draw against Brighouse Town. Let's get into it.
Something tells me I'm 80 something. Something tells me I'm 80 something. Woke up this morning feeling fine.
So before we start, obviously we received some sad news last week about the passing of Sam Fisher, also known as Sponge, a close mate to Luke. So Luke, hope you're all right. And also we know a lot of people that were connected with Sam, and I knew Sam as well. And we're just hoping that everyone else who's listening and knows Sam is all right. And there's been a bit of fundraising. Obviously he was out in Australia. He was a big Sheffield Wednesday fan as well. So just if you search up on Facebook about Sponge Fest, just sort of look at that for the link to the GoFundMe, and we'd urge you to support because obviously it's a tragic time for all those there. So now let's get into the podcast, starting with Worksop Town 3-2 Stocksbridge Park Steels. As Paz said, a good reaction from Tuesday defeat to Dunstan and a better performance, Michael.
Yeah, it's 3-2. It's one of those close sort of wins, but it was good to see the reaction from the players. To see the fight and to come back and get the win. It started really well again. I feel like we have been starting games recently a little bit better. Obviously the impact of Liam Hardy, which we'll get onto later, but yeah, it's just good to see the team getting that passion and the morale back, and picked up a point on Saturday as well. So hopefully now Stocksbridge is kind of a turning point. And yeah, I thought it was a brilliant performance. Some very good individual performances from backs, Hardy, etc. And like Paz mentioned, certain goals we shouldn't really be conceding, but a win's a win. And obviously at this stage of the season, it's all about points and getting as many as possible.
Yeah, you mentioned him there. Backs getting the goal on 5 minutes, and this is a trait that we saw from the Tigers, sort of from when Paz first came in and through pre-season this year, which is we'd go for that early goal and sort of then bring in the possessive style. Unfortunately, we didn't have time to really sit on that lead because Luke Mangum put them, lobbed Tiernan Brooks on 11 minutes and they were back into it. And it just feels like when we took one step there, the defensive side, sort of the 2 goals were poor to concede. But in the positives, as you mentioned, the passes were progressive, they were positive, we're playing in the right areas, in tighter areas, and I feel like Baxendale was a key to that.
Yeah, big time. I mean, that goal he scored early, it was just sort of that lift that we needed. Obviously, the 2 goals conceded weren't amazing, but you've got to give it to Stocksbridge. That first goal was brilliant. You can't knock that. And they were finding a lot of space in behind. So obviously, Paz noted that there were certain things that needed to be tweaked, and every game should be a learning lesson, win or lose. And so yeah, but I think the main thing for me was the performance. Hopefully, a turning point. Got 4 points out of 2 now.
Yeah, in the end, obviously, with both sides, I think there were times where both sides would play sort of route one football. But when both sides got the ball on the deck, it was really entertaining to watch. Both sides had good players in there. But as we mentioned, both sides had frailties at the back at times. But it was, like we said, perfect response. And 3 points is 3 points at the end of the day, and we know what Paz's philosophy is like. As long as we score more than the opposition and get 3 points, I'm sure he's happy.
Yeah, and it's great seeing the fans clap the players off at the end as well. I think it does make a big impact, especially because the home form is probably not as being as great as the away form. Having that sort of connection with the fans is really important. So yeah, it's really good on the fans supporting the players throughout, and the manager Parry singing his name as well. So yeah.
With Parry in mind, let's listen to him now.
I'm pleased for them. I'm pleased for the boys because I think they've took, a bit of criticism in themselves, rightly so, from Tuesday's performance. So I'm glad that the main thing today, by hook or crook, we had to get 3 points, and I'm pleased for them. I'm pleased for them for that. Not the perfect performance, but better, more like what we're trying to do, and the lads implemented it really well.
I was saying periods where the game went a bit more flat, the other side took more of the possession, like we were seeing in pre-season. Is that something that pleased you? Yeah,
definitely. Yeah, we've obviously it didn't start well. We obviously another injury in Watto, breaking down in thing. It just seems like lady luck in with us on injuries at minute in time. So, but I think where we played is exactly we reverted back to how we played our way through pre-season because we had the personnel to be able to do that. And I thought we played well. I thought there was some good performance in there that got on the ball, played past it, and we created a lot of chances. Not perfect, but better, more promising, and I feel a step in the right direction.
After Tuesday night's performance, how needed do you think this was?
Oh, definitely, unbelievably needed. It's let's not get carried away. It is only 3 points, but it's going to be a lot of season, plenty of ups and downs, and I'm probably going to be stood in front of you, really down in dumps, and I'm probably going to be stood in front of you like I feel now, really happy and top of the world, really think. But we can't lose the fact that it's only 3 points, and it was a more improved performance than the lads for Tuesday. And what I'm more pleased about is, I know I keep saying this, and I say it many times, there were a good set of lads in there, really good set of lads. And most pleasing thing is that they've reacted. They haven't gone into the shells. They haven't, been negative. They've come out the shells. They've gone on the ball. They've tried playing in the right areas, and they've got themselves a reaction.
And one player in particular scored 2 goals today, Liam Hardy.
Yeah.
We saw a glimpse of it on Tuesday night in terms of his movement, but today we saw it come off. What were your thoughts on his performance?
Great, but you get. As I said, you get what you get what's on the tin, don't you? You get goals. I think he'll probably admit himself that's probably disappointing. He hasn't got 3 or 4. But he will. It's a good performance. Look, he's a proper striker in a proper position. He finds himself in them positions. And you know what, as well, working with him closely in these last 2 games. It's not just his goals, what you get. He actually works very hard for the side. You actually don't realise how hard he works and what he puts in games. So yeah, it's a good performance from him.
And I suppose it's something that's needed when you've got a number 9 that's able to bring people in there. And suppose also his experience as well can help the other strikers at the club.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think we've got a really different personnel in there at the minute in time. I don't think we're by all means the finished product. We've still got a lot of lads again on the sidelines that we want to try and get back in. We are patched up in certain areas, but he's definitely affecting people around him. And what I think what my reaction is to people is that I think when you bring someone so prolific that's performed at a high level and you see the standards, it should drive other people round them and the squad round them and give them a lift and said, you know what, I actually want to be part of this. I want to actually, play with these players, and hopefully it improves them just by, watching him what he does and sticking his name on the score sheet.
So Paz's interview finished off with some quotes about Liam Hardy scoring his first 2 goals for the club, and overall his impact on the day was fantastic, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think he's made a huge impact. I think the strikers that we've currently got in Maka, Tomo, and Sam Aykroyd, we've really got a good choice of different strikers now. And I think obviously the experience that Hardy's got at a higher level, he's got a really good goal to game ratio. You can tell he's a proven goal scorer, and hopefully that should turn some results our way. But yeah, he's got everything. He's got the pace, the strength, the instinct to attack every single ball, and the press as well. I think it was good to see the press. It nearly paid off on Saturday against Brighouse, but obviously the defence did really well to get back. So yeah, it's amazing to see some press right from the front three. So yeah.
Yeah, obviously his first goal coming from the deflection, a great assist from Ross Goodwin, which I joked about with him in the clubhouse afterwards. Liam Hardy put it in, and then the second one was connecting with Jake Picton's header across the area, which obviously turned out to be the winning goal. I think overall his impact has been fantastic. As you mentioned, coming from a higher league, you can tell that his brain is still in that league, and I think Paz has mentioned this on a few occasions as well, that he's got that sort of know-how where he needs to nip in and get into them positions. I mean, the one that stands out for me, and I think many fans have mentioned this as well, is the chance where Reece Fielding should have cleared it. He sort of got round him, nicked it off him, and put it into the side netting, which I think a lot of fans were still clapping him for just the efforts that he put in there. And it's sort of the sort of movement and positional sense and how he gets stuck in just reminds me of the times when we had like the likes of Leon Metam up front and Tom Denton, sort of knowing what their roles are and bringing sort of dynamism to the front line. And obviously now he's got 2 on board, almost had a couple on Saturday. Hopefully he can go on and prove to us why we brought him down from a higher league, but also why he's been in the top goal scorers charts 4 of the last 5 seasons in the NPL, with that exception being because you're in a different league.
Yeah, it's been a great addition. Obviously Paz agrees as well, and yeah, he's climbing up those goal scoring charts already. And like I said earlier, it's the competition now. 4 great strikers, experienced strikers who've all been at really good levels in the football pyramids, to all compete. A mixture of pace, strength, power, instinct. It's going to be a real mix, and it'll be interesting how the the team selections are going to be based over the next few weeks. I think Paz has got a real good headache. Not a good headache, a bad headache, but good in the sense that he's got choice. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how we shape up both tomorrow, but obviously in a few weeks' time as well, when we get back at home.
I think the main thing now is to see how we play and if we alter a side to sort of get the best out of Liam, because I mean, if you have inverted wingers and Liam's dropping in, because, when as soon as he picks the ball up, he's holding off his man, he's turning, he's getting it onto wing. And the thing that we've missed all season is that person that gets it out to the wing, but then he's on the 6-yard area to sort of receive the cross. And now we've got that. And he's such a down-to-earth guy as well. So let's listen to his post-match interviews after Stocksbridge.
Yeah, I fought hard, and luckily I come out with 2 goals. Should have got a couple more, but the lads absolutely battled hard, and we knew that they were going to come out in second half after being 2-1 up and have a good go at it, and then we conceded, and then luckily managed to nick an header in box, and then good game. I don't know what you thought when you're watching, but yeah, good game to play in.
And both of your goals were well taken goals. Can you take us through both goals?
I just couldn't get back on side, I don't think, so I just hung about. I just had a feeling that the ball were going to drop, so Luckily it did, and then I think I scuffed it into the bottom corner. And the other one, just a little scramble from a corner. Jake headed it back across. I've just slipped out and just nodded it in.
And we seem to look really stronger in the second half. Was you impressed with the second half?
Yeah, we come on strong. Yeah, we battled hard and got it out to the wings and got it in box. And like I say, I should have possibly had another 2. So yeah, it's all good creating chances and that's why I come.
And since you've been to the club, how have the fans and everyone made you feel?
Yeah, really good, and the lads been great with me, management, everyone. Yeah, fans have been spot on. Yeah, so just long live the goals.
Before we move on to the Senior Cup victory, let's discuss the Player of the Month for September. Obviously, that during our little hiatus that we had, Deegan won the August Player of the Month award, so he's got back-to-back with his accolades. And to be honest, especially the first month, there were a couple of players going in for it. I think the split between Aaron and Alex is what swayed it for Deegan, with some impressive performances towards the end of the month, with all the votes from the President's Club members going towards him for that last bit. But especially September, Deegan's been phenomenal.
Yeah, he's had to bide his time. Obviously, Liam Bateman has had his own sort of injury issues, so it's a big role to fill. The fact that he's not only just come in at right back, full back, wing back, but also at centre back, and then also I remember him playing the first or second half at Dunstan away at left wing back. So it's pretty remarkable how sort of diverse of a player he is. He does the basics so well. His tracking back, his clearances, and to say he's not the biggest defender ever, he really does challenge with the bigger strikers. So yeah, he's had such a great impact, and I think it's really good as well for the amount of time he's been at Worksop as well. I think he's the longest serving player now, so it's a really good sort of sign. And I think Paz has noted this in many interviews after the games as well, how much impact that Deegan's had. So yeah, it's a really good sign, and hopefully it's going to last all season as well, because he's really cemented his role in the team now.
Yeah, as you mentioned, obviously him being the longest serving player currently in the Worksop Town squad, it's good to see, and obviously knowing him from before he came to Tigers. It's great to see him in this position now where he's getting plaudits every week and he's not. So obviously sometimes you get with young players, they're a little bit hesitant to make an impact like Deegan does. He's confident on the ball. He's really getting into his own. I think the impact, especially from when obviously Craig Denton came in and sort of nurtured him a little bit. KJ came in, giving that importance of the captaincy when he was in charge, and we lost Passo. But then Craig has seemed to transform him into the mature player that he is now, and sort of putting in 7 out of 10 each week. You know what you're going to get with Deegan. I think when you see his name on a team sheet, you're not worried, right? Is it going to be this weak point? Because, like we said, I know we've lost Liam a couple of times now due to injury, and Deegan's come in and obviously doesn't offer the same probably attacking threat as Liam did. Defensively is more astute. But he can also whip in a good ball. We've seen him get a couple of assists like that. So let's see if he can go for a third bout and get the October one as well, which I'm sure he's already got a couple of contenders, especially thanks to Liam Hardy's efforts last week.
Deegan, September Player of the Month. What's it like to get the award?
Obviously it feels great. Again, back to back. Shows out the work I'm putting in, playing well like I want to do. So yeah, I'm very happy about it.
What have you been doing to sort of maintain these performance levels?
Well, we've been watching games. I've been watching our past games we've been playing, looking at what I've been doing well and maybe what I could do to improve, just pick up on that.
Obviously using the VO, do you think that's just an advantage to the club?
Oh yeah, massive advantage, because like I say, not just individually you can look at what you want to do, what you can do to improve what you've been doing well, but as a team as well, you can look at what's going wrong maybe as a team, maybe we could all work together. So yeah, it's a great advantage.
And I suppose looking at yourself, analysing what you could improve, make sure that you don't get complacent and just lose your place. You want to keep going, don't you?
Oh, of course, yeah. Obviously, everyone here signed on. If everyone on the bench, everyone, maybe not even in the team, everyone wants to play. Everyone wants to get that shit and keep it. So that's why we're here in the day, innit, to play football. So yeah.
And how would you assess our overall September form?
To be fair, we're on a 5 unbeaten run in the league, and then last game we're poor. Everyone knows that. We put it right today, so overall I think pretty well.
And speaking of today, how did you find the performance?
Much better. We've played football. We've created a lot of chances again, and much better defensively again. But probably could do better, but probably were a bit better as well. Maybe keep shop a bit clean, a bit tighter, but overall a lot better.
Obviously, you came off the bench today, coming into a scenario where it was tight, as you mentioned.
Yeah.
What did Paz say to you, and how important was it to just come and do your
Yeah, he just obviously tell me to just do what I do. Really, just come on, keep it tight at back, just do your game. So obviously, you can't really panic coming on. You've got to keep calm, and you've got to make sure you can't do mistakes. Hopefully, I did do what you want me to do.
And how important was it to get this 3 points after Tuesday night?
Yeah, huge. Like I said, Tuesday was terrible. You just got to forget about that now. Put it in pass. But every time you have games like that, you've got to make sure you rebound, and I thought we rebounded well.
Moving into midweek, it's now a solo run because I was on my own. You wasn't there, Josh was there, and Luke wasn't there. So just a little whistle stop tour. Worksop Town 3, Ecclesfield Red Rose 19-15 0. Obviously, we progressed in the Sheffield and Hallamshire Senior Cup. Goals coming from Rob Guilfoyle, a great header for Connor Smythe, doubled the lead with an individual effort, before Ben Tomlinson sort of wrapped it up in the second half with a very, very late strike. However, it wasn't as comprehensive as Paz would have probably liked it. Ecclesfield Red Rose got in a number of times, and it was just from a lack of a clinical edge that probably made the tie look a bit more comfortable than it was. Carlton Carty up front causing us many problems with his pace and agility, but got the job done. I don't think there's much more we can say. I think sometimes the combination play was absolutely fantastic, where we just kept hold of possession, and I made that point to Paz after the match, where whether he just preferred, instead of us going and smashing Ecclesfield 6 or 7-0, with respect to obviously their performance, but the levels, that they got that sort of training in there as a sort of a passing combination players, as we mentioned, because we've lacked that a little bit this season. But I think that one of the biggest positives to come out there and sort of bring you into this bit, so you're not just listening to me, is that Alex Darshenko played 60 minutes, obviously played a further 45 on Saturday, but just how good is it to have him back?
Yeah, it's. I think we noticed how much of a difference he makes in midfield when he was out for a while. Just the way he picks up the ball in midfield. I think our midfield do such a good job in controlling the game, in really protecting the back five, or the back three, and with the wing backs. But I think Starchenko in the midfield, he's a different option. The way he can pick up a ball and drive and seek an option to the front three. It's a really big sort of role that he has, and it's not like he's been doing it for a while. He's had to really take his chance. That Paz gave him early on in the season. He really did take that, and it's a big shame that he did get injured. But now he's back. Hopefully, just right before he can become match sharp again. But the minutes will change that, and hopefully he'll get even more minutes tomorrow as well.
It will be interesting now to see how Paz deploys that midfield three, if it is a midfield three, which most of the time it has been, whether we've been in a five at the back formation, normally 3 and a 2, or whether it's 4-3-3. I should imagine Alex will be, if he can get back to the form, and he's already shown how brilliant he's been since he came back. We've sort of he just jinks around the midfield, but it'd be interesting to see whether he plays as that number 10. Because Bax has come back in and stuck a claim to start most weeks. Whether he's more of a box-to-box 8 or an advanced 8, and then Cody or Broadhead sort of that sitter in midfield. It's going to be interesting to see how Paz deploys that. And as you mentioned earlier, he's got a bad headache, but a good one to have in there. So before we move on to, as mentioned, I'm not sure if I've said this yet, the next round has been drawn. We will either host Sheffield FC or Handsworth, who I believe play either tomorrow or next Tuesday. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm hoping that Handsworth might nick it at Sheffield FC, because it'd be nice to see them at Sandy Lane once again.
Yeah. Obviously, we've already met Sheffield FC this season away, playing in the same league. So yeah, I think Handsworth would be a good tie. It'll be a good test for them as well, considering they are in a league below. So yeah, I think it'd be a big game. And I think it's good to have these sort of cup games as well to kind of break up the league action. We are obviously out of both the FA Trophy and FA Cup now. So this sort of like an esteem or a status sort of trophy. So it'd be good to kick on and hopefully get to the finals of it. So yeah.
I mean, Handsworth currently are, if I scroll up very quickly, fourth in the NCL. Currently, they are on a great run of form. They had a good run in the FA Cup, obviously losing to Pontefract Collieries in the third qualifying round, so got further ahead than us. But they're currently on a 4 straight winning streak before they play tomorrow, and now I've just checked. So they're coming strong, and I mean the likes of Leon Harworth and Mitchell Dunn up front, bagging goals at the minute. Leon's a fantastic striker, but as I always like to bring up, and more than once, I have saved his penalty at Sunday League level, so I'll take that. Right, so before I get any more big-headed, let's play Paz and Rob Guilfoyle's reactions. Obviously, Rob scored his first goal for the club.
So Rob, a 3-0 victory over Ecclesfield Red Rose. What were your thoughts on the performance?
I thought it was a good game. I thought the boys played well. It slowed down the second half, but in the first half we got a couple of goals which settled us down. We were trying to speed up the game and the tempo, but it was, when you're playing a team like that, it makes it quite difficult.
Them sitting back, how important was it to control the game?
It really important with Cody just getting on it and just not playing long and just keeping the ball, moving it side to side, and then trying to get them to move side to side, and then we can when we get it to me and Tomo, we can start playing and 1-2 touches around the box and then get goals.
And I suppose being a winger, getting on the ball, it helped a lot, didn't it?
Yeah, it helped a lot. Just gave my confidence as well, because I've not been playing a lot of minutes. So to get 90 minutes in my belt, I'm really happy with that.
Yeah, how much have you enjoyed your time with the Tigers so far?
Yeah, buzzing to come here. It's a great setup, and I'm here for only a month, but we'll see where it goes from there. Really.
You mentioned about in your introduction interview that you want to try and impress. Is this just little cameos like this, but then in the league starting to start games?
Yeah, this is. We want to now take, because we won on Saturday, but we want to take it into win today and then take it into Brighouse on Saturday, and we need 3 points there as well, and get as high as possible up near the top 2.
And I suppose getting a goal, it always helps, doesn't it?
Yeah, always helps. It's good for confidence, but the main thing is, well, it's not the main thing, but the main thing is the league. So we'll focus on that and get 3 points hopefully on Saturday.
And being a winger, I suppose, scoring with your head's a little bit different.
Yeah, it is. I wasn't surprised. I played 9. I've been playing 9 all my career, so coming and playing as a 2 with Tom, I fitted straight in, I think.
So Paz, a 3-0 victory in the Sheffield and Elmshire Senior Cup.
Yeah.
What were your thoughts on the initial performance?
I thought first half were good. I thought we got the ball down, played it. Obviously took the game to them and got the goals that we needed. I thought second half, I thought the quality were poor from us, really, if I'm honest. I think it became like a bit of a training game. But that's our problem, not the opposition, and we've got to. Obviously, I've just said to the lads in there, if you look at all the opposition that we played this year that's come to our place, not many teams come out. Every lot of teams will sit back and go 4-5-1, and we've got to be better in quality, picking up the ball and going in the right areas. So good for staff, happy, moved the ball well, did well, but second half not so pleased.
Obviously, you mentioned about the second half, but the first half possession and some of the combinations that was happening.
Yeah.
Would you argue that instead of smashing 6-7 in, as playing the ball with his feet like that to sort of get them moves in is more favourable? Yeah, 100%. I think the purpose of this game was exactly that. To ensure that we got the combinations right and people got used to it, and be able to play the ball, pass the ball in the right areas, and be able to move the ball and get the combinations. I actually thought all the way through the game,
I thought that was quite good. You look at the last goal there in the last 5 minutes, again the combinations in the touch, pass, move, in behind, overloads, good ball across the box, centre forward where it needs to be. I just think the difference between the first half, second half was how quick we actually passed the ball, and then the quality actually, are moving it in the second half, in the final third. So yeah, that's my thoughts on that.
Alex got 60 minutes into his legs. How much of a positive is that?
Big positive. Alex is a big player for us. I know I've been moaning, with yourself since the first game of the season. We've lost a player. We have actually lost a player every single game. And Alex, we're flying through pre-season. If not, probably our best player through pre-season. He's come on leaps and bounds, and he's some player. And we're proud to have him here at Worksop, and it's great to have him on the pitch and get 80 minutes underneath his belt. He's still got a long way to go to get minutes, where we need him to be back up to pre-season. But delighted to have him here, delighted to have him on the pitch and making an impact. I think you could see in the first half what a difference he makes when he's in our starting 11.
And obviously he came off for Luke, and we've got high praise for Luke.
Yeah.
How good is it that even in these types of competitions that you can get a run out and sort of get drip feed into the first team?
100%. Luke's done really well. Like I said, we're keeping a close eye on him with the development side as much as we are with everyone. As I've said, that we're constantly in contact with Lovey, the academy director there. But it's great to have Luke in the squad. He's here on merit. He played today on merit. In the second half. I thought he did extremely well. What really pleased me with him is not that the basics are playing on the right hand side of the free there in winning his headers and defending. It's how comfortable he on the ball. It went back to Seb. He's moving to the touchline. He's wanting the ball. He's wanting to play, and he's wanting to do things the right way. He wasn't going into his shell, and that's great confidence for the young kid really. So I'm really pleased with him, and I think over time, I've got high hopes of him, developing, as a first team player.
A few changes tonight, obviously, like Hardy not playing, but
yeah.
Rob Guilfoyle coming in, obviously scoring. Yeah. Does these games sort of help get the whole squad more minutes going into Saturday's game? Yeah,
I just don't think it's, obviously Rob's had like a game time at Bradford, I think, so he's come in and got another 90 minutes underneath his belt from the development game to the 45, then to the 90 now, so we're in the space of a week or so. He's got games underneath his belt, but I don't just think him. He could go through the side there. Gibbo, Turns, guys that have been out. We hadn't that been missing since this game of the season. Seb injured. He's just getting himself back. From a knee injury that's that could have potentially ruled him out for the season. So he's another one there. Backs. Got 90 minutes there, but again, game time for him. Tomo being injured for the last 3 games, came back on the bench, game time again. So it's vital game time for everyone that were there today, and that's what I said at the beginning. Don't waste the game time. Make sure that you put yourself in the shop window for me to pick you, this Saturday and the coming week. And I think the way our luck's been with injuries so far, we can't be in a position to carry 15 to 16 players. We've now got to carry 18 because every single week there's a problem and we've got to fix it, we've got to patch it up and go with the squad. So I need a strong squad, and I thought, like I said tonight, a lot of them they applied themselves really well. I just thought probably second half we just took us foot off the gas.
Now on to the Yorkshire Payment Stadium, where it finished Brighouse Town 1-1 Worksop Town. I hate cliches, but it really was a game of two halves.
Yeah, it's again. I mean, I thought it was a bit of a slow start personally. I think we had the couple of sort of like half chances, but going forwards, it was very slow. They had quite a few chances, like Paz mentioned. We could have easily been 4-0 down at half time, but they did only score the one. It did give us that chance to really have a big reaction in the second half, and I think I've seen it before where we do really come out of the second half, and the changes really did make an impact. Sam Aykroyd on the wing, providing a different sort of option as well. I think it kind of unlocked Liam Hardy a little bit more. He managed to get a little bit more space, getting in behind. I thought the set pieces were much better. And obviously, I think was it meant to be a goal from Ben Turner? I personally thought it was placed, but I mean, I didn't expect it. As you can see with the camera work in the Tigers' view, it definitely caught me by surprise. But yeah, it was a great goal. And after that, we had a couple of chances to really steal it as well. Cromack hit in inside of the post, which I thought it was going to sneak in, but it was a big reaction in the second half, and I think Paz took a lot of positives from that. It does show we have got the fight, and when we do play, we can create some really good chances. So I think if we do that from the get-go, it can be a real sort of headache for any opposition.
I suppose it just feels like sometimes we have that first 20 minutes where we're either really good or really poor, and then we concede, and it's how we react from that. So if you remember the first game of the season, it got to around about that mark, then Yorkshire Amateur scored and we had a bad reaction to it. It was sort of that mark where Pickering scored and we had a great reaction to it.
Yeah.
And either way, it's either like against Dunstan as well, good reaction after going behind. It just seems to be that 20th minute mark where something happens. But Saturday, we had a bad reaction to it. As you mentioned, half-time changes there. A triple substitution with, let me try and think now, Lewis Gibbons, James Baxendale and Rob Guilfoyle were all replaced by Adam Watson, Alexander Starshenko and Sam Aykroyd. And as you mentioned, that was a really good reaction and a stylistic change which saw us go more attacking and bring the game to them on that awful pitch.
Yeah, I think it's been really tough going away to these teams. Obviously, some of the teams are quite far away. Some of the pitches aren't the best compared to what the players will be used to. So I think adapting to the situation has been really big as well. Dictated the certain style of play of what we can do on the pitch and the surface that they're playing on. And yeah, it was such a big reaction. I think a real positive note is the fact that we are still unbeaten in 5 games away, 3 wins and 2 draws, and picking up points away is really important. Obviously, the home form we do have to work on, but you can't argue the away performances at all. We've come up against some really tough teams. The biggest test coming tomorrow against Marsk, but I think you've got to give real credit to the players who travel so far to these teams and still have picked up points at every away game.
I think I've said to Glenn a few times, it feels like when we play away, we play like we should at home, and when we play at home, it's sometimes how teams like to play away, and it's just about finding that balance, which I think will eventually come. Hopefully, the injury layoffs will settle down soon, because I know it's stressing everybody out them ones, but you know, like you mentioned, if we can keep this impressive away record going, then that's what's needed currently. Just looking at the league table, as you mentioned, 5 games away, 3 wins, 2 draws, 0 defeats, if you can do your maths quicker than I can. Whereas at home, we've played 7, won 2, drawn 2, lost 3. It's just about finding that balance, and to consider how people have been saying it's been a poor start, being 7th, 1 point below the playoff positions, against the likes of Ossett, who arguably we should have be coming away from that game with 3 points with how the afternoon or the evening panned out. Cleethorpes were in there; they seem to be on a decent run, but that top 3 of Liversidge, who look unstoppable, still unbeaten, Shildon are going strong and moving on nicely to Marsk. In fact, before we move on to that, let's have a little stopgap between hearing Paz's reaction from Saturday, as well as Ben Turner's after getting his first goal for the club, which we'll let it hit. Well, he decides whether it was meant or not.
A game of 2 halves for us, really. We've probably seen that with the changes at half time. First half, we just never turned up. We never got out of the blocks. We just won here. If we'd have gone down 2-3 at half time, then it'd probably be a fair result, really. So, but coming away Brighouse, up the hill with a bit of wind, wind against, going in at 1-0 half time. We just had to dust ourselves down and take that, and try and reassess and set the lads up second half to try and take advantage of the conditions, which they did first half. Fair play to them, but yeah. So game of two halves. I think on judgment of it, I thought we could have nicked it at the end. We had two chances there that I think really we should take, but we didn't, and we come away from Brighouse with a point and still unbeaten on the road.
You mentioned the 3 substitutions at half time. What were your thoughts process behind that, and what impact do you think they made?
I think they made huge impacts. I thought Alex was best player on pitch second half. You saw Watto at centre half, in what he did, and Sam, he's been banging on this door for me, all season. Going away to Parkgate, scoring hat-tricks, coming here, banging on the door. He worked hard. He had a bit of grit between his teeth. He's got bags of pace. So all three subs made a huge impact. But I think it's just the overall 11 that we put out second half, just the attitudes and the standards. Obviously, no one means to go out on the pitch and mean to play bad. Everyone does the best thing they can, but yeah, it's the feelers that came on made a huge impact and a huge impression.
What do you think were the biggest differences between the first half and the second?
I think the conditions helped, but I think just playing in the right areas. Obviously, that's what they did first half. Straight. They stuck 4 against our back. Well, our back 3 start with, and obviously switched it to a 4 very early. And we just tried to match them up in a way of playing in the right areas and trying to play players in the right areas and probably not try and be too fancy and too technical. Maybe I can look at where I set the team up. Maybe we're a little bit weak in the middle of the park. In hindsight, trying to be a little bit clever and try and play through the thirds that way. But really, we were never going to be able to do that. So my point is second half. Obviously, we just played to percentages, which at this level wins you a lot of games, and really could have won us this game.
So Ben, a 1-1 draw with Brighouse Town. What were your thoughts on the performance?
Game of two halves, really. I thought first half we were diabolical, and everyone could see. Couldn't get any worse, but to be fair, we dug in at half time. 3 subs made a difference, and come out fighting a bit, and I think we could have pinched one at end.
What did Paz say to you at half time to get you all motivated for the second half?
Just go out, show a bit of passion, show a bit of pride. First balls, second balls, we couldn't get any worse. First half we're not good enough.
I suppose your goal got us the equaliser, a point in the end. What were going through your mind as you put it in?
It's pretty in a good area. To be fair, with slope and with wind, and just look for that back stick, and if it goes across, if it goes in, but I'm taking that. It's a shot all day long.
And I suppose the goalkeeper made a few good saves, so we're going to take something like that to go in.
Yeah. To be fair, I thought Seb pulled off a couple as well in first half. Same as say, we could have been 4-5 down first half, but then second half, I thought we were the brighter team who were looking to go on and maybe nick one.
And now you've had a couple of starts in succession after playing a couple of games there, then going on holiday, and then the red card. How have you found it so far?
Yeah, it's nice to get back in. Obviously, no one likes not playing, and obviously, like I said, I had the wedding and the red card was stupid, but now I'm getting a run of games, it's enjoying it, and we've got some good players, we've got a good squad. It'll take 16, 18 men this year, but keep plugging away and I think we'll be right up there.
So that's all we've got for you on episode 7 of Tiger Talk. Michael, thank you for standing in today. How have you found it?
Yeah, it's been great. So we've had a lot of talking points. Probably be a very long episode, so good luck editing this. But yeah, no, it's been a good few days. Obviously Brighouse away with the Tigers view.
Yep, as you mentioned, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel where you can find this podcast. You might even be listening to it right now. So hit that subscribe button. We've obviously recently passed 300 subscribers, which is great. Also, make sure to follow, like us on Facebook and Instagram as well. But yeah, that's it. Enjoy your evening, and we will see you next time.